RTD Live Talk, Detroit's #1 YouTube talk show. Excited to connect for a Monday live stream. I hope everyone is well. Sorry about my absence. As always, looking to put together some last-minute thoughts via visual aid, so I apologize. But we're here now. Let's make the most of our time, and definitely looking forward to connecting and finding out what's on your radar. And as always, want to make sure I welcome any first-time viewers to the community. Let me know where you're watching from via the chat, or if when the phone lines open up. 313-462-0027 is the number to call and let your voice be heard. All right, so I'll jump in real quick. I noticed a lot of chatting back and forth in the community, so that's what it's all about, the People's Talk Show, allowing everybody to get a chance to connect and hang out a little bit. And then as always, it's not much of a talk show unless you have someone to talk to, so definitely looking forward to connecting and hearing your voice directly. So I'll jump in the chat real quick. Now, acknowledge a couple people. Appreciate your patience and whatnot, and we'll keep moving and make the best of our time. But anyway, we got JoJo checking in. We got BC Matrix, Road King. We got Bobby Seal. Let me go back. Carl Late. We got Tony checking in. Hercules from the Pantheon checking in. We got Lightning for Thee. Let me see here. We got Eddie checking in. Colony. Appreciate you guys, man. Nick O. We got Calypso Moon checking in. Tom checking in. All right. Fair amount of people. Zipper Fixer. Will Smith, XRP Bible. Appreciate you guys. All right. So, wow, what's lots of things have transpired the last 72 hours from our last conversation on Friday. And it looks like as of now, the gas may not be flowing as smoothly into the European area on top of all the other things. But one article I came across that I wanted to pretty much illustrate and highlight a little bit, basically just showing the RubleGas flow, or what Putin on Thursday announced he hopes to accomplish with the new, which will be soon to be the renegotiation of contracts and payment for rubles rather than unfriendly currencies. And so let me just keep it moving, right? Okay, see more people checking in. We got Barry checking in. Appreciate you guys. Daryl, how you doing, my friend? All right, so let's jump right in, man. I want to just jump on this little visual aid real quick. I try to put together some of the thoughts from this article that I was going to try to touch over the weekend, but I'm like, man, I need to, unplug a little bit and just save it for Monday. So here we are. But it's relevant news to say the least, just because it's more of the global move away from the petrodollar mechanism. But I tried my best to illustrate as much as I could in such a quick fashion. But before I dive into this, let me make sure that I try to remind everybody to make sure you plug in by, as you guys can see here, clicking the subscribe button as well as the bell notification. I want to make sure we give everybody a chance to plug in when we are live so that people can connect amongst like-minded individuals, as well as get a chance to share their 2 cents and thoughts on what's happening right now beyond the transition, as well as, more of the things I'm excited to get into when it comes to the good news. And of course, you know what that good news is all about, but we'll dive into that. But anyway, click the thumbs up button, show your support for the channel, as well as subscribe if you're new. Want to make sure everyone has a chance to get plugged in. All right, so let's jump right in. So here's a little visual I put together, and it illustrates the payment pathway of the current, starting April 1st, current payment structure that Putin basically put out. And one thing I did notice, trying to pull out more articles to really highlight this visual aid here, a lot of the articles coming out from the Russian network or internet sources, it's not available. And so I clicked on 2 or 3 different articles, of which I was not able to they were not, sources not found. It said network not connected. So that's more of the attempt by the U.S. internet regulatory body, or ICANN, or whoever runs the internet pathways to hinder people getting information, i.e. misinformation, fake news, or whatever the West has labeled information coming out of Russia. So it makes it hard to get credible sources other than just seeing stuff float as it may. But interesting article here highlighting some things, and I thought I would jump right in. So this is all about basically clapping back at in response to the sanctions, what is considered the unfriendly countries. And so in the very center of this, you guys can see unfriendly countries happen to be the G7 plus, the nations that have placed sanctions. And of course, there's a lot more, but these are the primary puppets that are playing along with the globalist agenda of ushering us out of the dollar system into that next world digital CBDC stuff that's already underway. Anyway, so as you guys can see here, G7 nations are in a dab. They're in a dab smack middle of this graph here because this is what it's all about. So on Thursday, Putin made an announcement, basically, and he broke down in greater detail via, I think it was a phone call or a letter. We'll get to it in a minute, but basically just highlighting how the flow will work from this point on. So basically, all the unfriendly countries that'll be using euros or dollars, as you guys can see that above. So the flow of operations will go like this in a simplistic way. G7 nations in the middle, and if you want to do business. And this is all about, as you see over here to the far left, the nations with European nations that receive the most energy from Gasprom to the far left. So as you guys can see here, the direct access via using your own currencies, you see this X right here basically saying that that's a red line, it's cut off. So let me introduce to you the new way, basically is Putin saying. So G7 nations, take your currencies, whatever you want to do. And so, of course, this is something that's new to everybody. So this is how it'll flow smoother for everyone in moving forward. So going up, take your currencies, take your euros, your dollars, whatever you're going to use. Now, in order to make it flow smoothly, you deposit those into the Moscow Stock Exchange or Moscow Exchange. I'm assuming it has a lot to do with the currency exchange or however that might work. So you take your euros, whatever it is, you deposit it into the MOX exchange, then the Moscow Exchange to the far right here. They will then set up an account for you in the Gasprom bank, which is at the very bottom of this. And then once these nations here, we'll find out more details as time moves along as far as which countries are complying, which ones are not. But as of right now, this is what the structure looks like based upon information provided out of the East. We'll see if they comply or not. Well, if not, there'll be a lot of cold countries. But anyway, set up an account at Gasprom. Then once your account is credited and the exchange is made out of the old currencies into, I forgot to put the ruble on here. But anyway, so once the currencies exchanged once the currencies are exchanged at the Moscow exchange, then your account will be credited at Gasprom. So every country will have their own little account or whatnot. And then you'll get the thumbs up when you see the green line going here. And then we will notify Gasprom that your accounts are good. So you got the green line going here. And then once your account is credited, then in Russian rubles, you'll be able to continue the flow of energy into your country. And therefore, that's how you'll be transacting utilizing the ruble. So I forgot to put the ruble right here. But I'll make the edits after this. But anyway, in a nutshell, the simplistic viewpoint on how the new ruble gas flow, what it will look like denominated in rubles moving forward. So this is just something worthwhile to put a little picture to the article that I'm going to touch on right here. So here's an actual article that does a good job of explaining that. And it says the RubleGas, the world's new resource-based reserve currency. And it says here, RubleGas is a commodity currency de jour, and it's nearly as complicated as a NATO pretends. If Europe wants gas, all it needs to do is send its euros to a Russian account inside Russia. And this is as of Friday. And simply put here, a lot of the things I explained comes from this visual aid, and it's right here. So ultimately speaking, the goal is to bypass the need of actually using European and possibly even Western nation, i.e. U.S. Banks all in general, just because what Russia has learned is that if your reserves or your accounts or your currency is parked in anyone else's institution that, say, for example, you don't have the servers or you don't have the keys to unlock your currency, it really is not yours. And so as a result of the sanctions basically blocking or prohibiting funds from flowing that actually belong to Russia, they're saying, hey, we don't want any exposure to your banks whatsoever. So if you're going to do business with us, you're going to do it on our terms. You're going to put it in a Gazprom bank, which happens to be located within Moscow or within Russia. And then from there, we will know that your accounts are good, and then energy will flow. So ultimately, what this has done is led to a outright admission of mistrusting in banking structures here. And so this is on a international level where you have Russia, Putin, all the intermediaries involved, basically have no trust in the current structure of payments moving back and forth the way they used to because of this current agenda that's underway right now. So what we can learn from this, what I take away from all this, is basically put that, anything that you think is yours, if it's not in your possession, if you don't have the network or the service to actually oversee and maintain it, or in the crypto space, the private keys and all that type of stuff like that, or the actual weight in and of itself or access to the weight, then I think it's going to be a rude awakening for a lot of people. And so what Russia has the privilege of being able to do is basically create new channels and new pathways towards keeping energy flow, keeping the currency flowing outside of all the infrastructure set up with, the brick networks or whatnot. But they're basically utilizing their own assets to their advantage by basically demanding payment in their own currency through their own banking network, and then the gas will flow. So as of now, we'll find out if the European nations and other nations dependent upon gas will take this seriously or not. My guess is that it'll be prolonged. And then, as always, what I've learned is that there's always some new hiccup lurking around the corner, week by week, day by day. So that's something that we can expect. This will not flow the way I think Russia would like for it to, even if that's something they really believe would happen. But it's on the table, so we'll find out how it flows. And so here, I want to get to this next article. This is what came out over the weekend, and basically says Gasprom halts gas shipments to Europe via critical pipeline. So this is as of Saturday. I saw some people out there covering it already, but once again, basically highlighting just beyond the fact we were told this was going to happen. But one of the key takeaways that I have from this is that on Friday, when me and Mario was talking back and forth, the Western media came out with all that happy-go-lucky news saying that at this current time, the Kremlin will not be shutting off gas. It was, 3 or 4 articles I highlighted, all coming from the same scripted sources, of course, but basically saying that the Kremlin wouldn't be cutting off gas. And sure enough, within 24 hours, news out of the Eastern Hemisphere, the Kremlin say that gas will cease. So you see how the media, especially Western media, there's no, talk about misinformation, disinformation, fake news, whatever you want to call it. It has ramped up, to unbelievable heights right now, because they're literally trying to counter every message that comes from the East, which shows more of the tug of war between what's real, what's not, trying to decipher in between and filter through the noise in the middle, how all this stuff plays out, because it just makes it that much more worth our while to not really rely upon or trust media in general, nevertheless our own, because these people here, they have, what is it, about 200, 300 trillion dollars worth of reasons to lie people just domestically and globally in the entire monetary system. There's, close to 2 quadrillion reasons why the media will lie to us because of what's at stake with this new method of actually moving real world goods around the world, not denominated in dollars. But anyway, real quick here. It says the European nations imported the most gas from Russian sources yesterday in months, scrambling to stock up on supplies as Russian Vladimir Putin deadline to either pay for rubles and gas or be cut off came and went. It says Russian giant Gasprom has officially halted all deliveries to Europe via the Yamal-Europe pipeline. Not even familiar with that. A critical artery for the European energy supply. So here's just a little map here showing that over the last, several months here, liquid nitrogen gas exports to Europe have been more than doubled since October. So Europe has been even more dependent. At the same time, the United States and all the puppies on this side is further pressuring Europe to comply and go along with these sanctions. At the same time, they run the risk of completely having an absolute catastrophic remainder of winter. And then, of course, if this situation is not ironed out heading into next winter, it's going to be all hell break loose, because people will definitely be feeling it outside of what they're already feeling with the increase in costs and goods. But it says instead of toward Germany and the EU, said gas supplies on Friday and Saturday started flowing in the opposite direction, according to Gascade, the network operator here. And then here, I wanted to put this visual aid here, just because this is up, I think, up until last year, the current map or index rather of the Europe's riskiest exposure, the riskiest countries in Europe with the most exposure to Russian gas and the severity of what would play if it got cut off. So we got up here the very highest is 60%, which happens to be Hungary and Austria in the very middle, and Latvia, of course, and then all the other surrounding green nations here show how much of their energy probably overall comes from the Russian pipeline. And so we got the further nations here. And then, of course, the UK is not even on there because they appear to be, self-sufficient, or so they think. But anyway, just a little map here showing how serious it is for those countries in green. And, of course, they're going right along with the puppet regimes, trying to continue to put pressure on Putin as if like they actually really need anything from the rest of the world because they have everything they need within their own borders. Okay, another article here. This is the response today. It says German regulator takes over Gazprom Germania to ensure energy supply. So as a result of the cutting off of energy over the weekend, German regulators are looking to basically seize what they think will be as it says here, a guarantee. What it says here, it says Gazprom Germania, an energy trading, storage, and transmission business ditched by Russia's Gazprom on Friday, will be transferred to Germany's regulator to ensure energy security. So, without even knowing how all this is down deep down in the subject matter, but I'm thinking like they're confiscating property of Russia, i.e., Gazprom, as if like the pipeline that would even flow either to this building or in its vicinity will still remain active, flowing, energy flowing. And I'm thinking like at the worst case scenario, you see some property, you got a building, you might got some containers with, a large amount of energy stored up in some containers or something like that. But definitely is not enough because it's not the source. It's just an intermediary / subsidiary of Gazprom in Russia. So by confiscating the building, do you really put yourself in a better position of securing your energy future when all you get is brick and glass and whatever else might be in those structures? But I don't think it'll be enough energy coming through the pipelines connected to those buildings or not to be able to supply the energy you're basically shooting yourself in the foot with by continuing to go towards these sanctions or whatnot. So just thought this was interesting here, but it says our goal will be to run Gazprom Germania in the interest of Germany and Europe. So they're making it seem as if like by them capturing this asset within Germany, they still have energy. I don't see how that is, but more information will come out about that. So anyway, that's just interesting to see that gas get cut off, they start confiscating property. Right. But yet they still need energy. And then here is something else I thought was worth bringing to your attention. This caught my eyes late, but it says why the tanking Japanese yen should concern investors. So I'm not even sure 100% what is happening in this region here, but I did see a lot of charts floating around talking about the sudden depreciation to gold of the Japanese yen. So obviously something's hitting the fan in Japan. So if anybody has any more details, feel free to keep me informed of what's going on. But it says its currency, the yen, was crashing while yields on the government bonds were surging. I think that's happening in every country. It says 4 days of unbridled bond buying by the Bank of Japan to stem the hemorrhaging and contain interest rates while the gambit work for now. Wall Street is waking up to the potential canary in the coal mine. So canary in the coal mine. So yeah, government debt, no matter what country it is, it's denominated in a currency that's being completely destroyed. I'm not quite sure what type of an asset that remains to anybody. So it doesn't surprise me one bit, but it is what it is. On another note, outside of Germany confiscating, property of Russia, it says German retailers to increase food prices by 20 to 50% as of today. And I saw an article saying that Aldi, which I believe is a German company, if I'm not mistaken, they are the ones that's kind of leading the charge with, basically making an announcement that they will be increasing 20 to 30%. I think it's at 30% of a lot of key items. And so here we go right here. It says, translated, Aldi, for example, expects to increase 20 to 50% in its purchase prices in the coming weeks. Already on Monday, go back here. Let me get this article here. It says already, let me go back. Already on Monday, meat, sausage, and butter are to become significantly more expensive at Aldi Nord. So never good news. And then if it couldn't get any worse, China asked entire city to self-test as the frustration grows. And I'm going to just leave that right where it is, because that zero policy there is just complete lunacy, in my opinion. But who am I? But anyway, let's talk. Let's open up the phone lines. Curious to hear what's on your mind, what's on your radar. As always, for those that are plugged in, appreciate you for joining us and being a part of the community. Want to make sure, give everybody a chance to let their voice be heard. So highlight at Rethinking the Dollar in the chat. And then if you want to talk directly, give me a call. And I want to also make sure everybody, if you're tuned in right now, make sure you hit the bell notification. And if you're new to the channel, click the subscribe button so that you can stay plugged in and be able to join us when we go live. And I have, lots of things I would like to do, is just more so the time to be able to get it done in a way that, provides value. And of course, I want to produce quality material. So anyway, let's keep it moving, man. I see D-Dub out there. See a lot of back and forth. Gasprom is a Russian state-owned gas company, of course. What else we got here? Lightning for these says Afghanistan is the #1 mineral deposit of lithium. Just not have the tools or tech to unearth the process. It also over 70% of all batteries in the U.S. come from China. Do that math. Lightning. So 100%, and that's why I'm assuming that as soon as the U.S. turned over the keys to China, they moved in, and I'm sure they used all their remaining dollar-denominated reserves to help build infrastructure for their own interests to be able to secure that lithium. So definitely, I would imagine the resources in Afghanistan, because even I saw the Taliban posted something about them basically getting rid of or dialing back or shutting off the opium trade and opium field. So it looked like they might be deciding to get into the natural resource space, because I'm assuming that's a lot of untapped land over there that China is definitely going to take advantage of. And of course, everything that's taking place right now is strategic to be able to, secure real water resources for the agenda of all the, going green, the electric vehicles, solar, and everything like that. All the stuff that's really needed that comes from the earth. That's what this is all about. Clamoring for real world resources at a time where it's a matter of retaining trust, because it's hard to get people to exchange worthless fiat paper for real goods. Those days are gone. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, my name's Steve, being Reach 9.
Steve, what's up, my friend? Give me a quick thought. What's in your mind?
Hey, did you get that this video there? Some follow-up information on Operation Sandman. Not sure if you had a chance to take a look at it or not. But
I did not. I'll open it up real quick. Give me a quick rundown if you don't mind. I'll put it on the screen and then I'll pass it along.
Yeah, it was pretty much the same thing that we had talked about before. Something like 160 countries. I'm hearing numbers anywhere between 155, 160.
Yeah.
Countries already signed on to this.
Yeah.
To make the dollar kaput. And then I didn't know this. I had to look it up.
Mm-hmm.
There's only something like 195 countries in the world.
Right.
So if 160 have signed on to this, that's good night, Irene, right there.
Right. So I did read some articles about that. But yeah, one of the things that, so of course I listened to the interview on this from March 10th, and I kind of got an idea of what Steve Quayle was coming from with this agreement. But other than right now it being, I'm not sure if it's official or if it's speculation or where that original source came from talking about the project Sandman, and can we rely upon that information is my thing. Like, I ain't saying Steve Quayle is lying, but once again, we know what time we're in. But is this, like deliberately we're all 100 and how many ever already signed up and just waiting for what, so that's where I'm like, I gotta read more into this and see what's really happening.
Yeah, I think it, from what I understand from it, basically they're going to wait and choose their day
mm-hmm.
To pull the plug on it. To me, that was the big thing out of it. that I just sent you was some follow up after that. That one's from like several days ago. The one that I just sent you.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I guess we'll have to just let it play out.
Right.
But,
that's
anyway.
That's how it goes, man. Appreciate you, man, for bringing this to our attention. I'll definitely pass it on.
All right, take it easy.
Yeah, be good.
Bye.
Yeah, good stuff, man. So definitely, as always, if you guys have the articles, news stories, I appreciate the people in the community hit me up on Twitter and things like that, passing on information. And I try my best to make sure I connect it because a lot of people are not too tech savvy and want to make sure. But if you can, connect on Discord as well as Telegram. The information is down below where you guys can share the information directly so it can get right into the community faster. And people can, do what you got to do with it. You can dissect it, dismiss it, take it, chew it up, do what you got to do with it. Let me see. I saw a thought about, let me see here. Let me see. Great question. Monica Woods. It says, do you think Russia and China will go to war with the U.S.? My personal thought when I first reading that, we're already at that point. And so I think what most people are anticipating is actually the hot kind where, things go flying in the air. I think that is like, the last case scenario of events that I think anybody would want, because even the people just pulling the strings at the very top of all this, we only have so many places geographically where you can go for shelter if things got really hot, i.e., like nuclear. So I don't think that would be something that they meaning the people who are trying to orchestrate all this would actually want to do. But then again, it could be hot pockets to where, small ones are set off to try to prove a point, sure. But, as far as overall war, when I think of war, I'm thinking like what I hear about most, nuclear. That's one thing I hope is not the case. We do have a currency war underway. We do have a resource war underway. We do have a digital control war underway right now. And, all types of other things we can consider a war. But the ultimate, where the shape of the planet type is altered type of war. I hope not, but I do believe that outside of what we're being told and what we're seeing, all of the top of the. Let me go back to this pyramid here, and let me just share with you my 2 cents on all this for those that might be new. But real quickly, at the end of the day, it's a power structure. This is what I call the power pyramid, and so. This is what has been rebranded. And so to me, this is the old world order. And I've shared several stories over the last couple of days, especially from the World Government Summit last week, on how what we're witnessing right now, in my opinion, is the outright admission to the world, the need for a different style of governance. And so I shared an article on the community page from one of the wealthiest Middle Eastern investment individuals, basically admitting that what he's seen is a new world order shifting. And he said the supply chains is being used as the primary medium or tool to orchestrate all this successfully. And he was saying the UAE, they're going to find their way through this. We saw Larry Fink and BlackRock talk about, the need for less globalizations and the issuance of a new world structure. Biden, new world this. Everybody, their mama wants a new world. I'm okay with a new world, but a different type. But my whole point is I got a visual I'm going to put together, but it's going to show you this is the old world. I'm going to put together what I believe the new world will look like. And then I'm going to counter that and up you one with the eternal world order. So I'm excited. Like, the images for what I'm trying to put together, they're there. I just got to put the time together to do it. But, I am excited for something new. I must admit, I am excited for something new. We do need new. So it's here, but it's just not the type that they want. It's the type that, our Heavenly Father has positioned. And boy, I'm excited. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's keep talking. Man. Goodness gracious. Okay. And still, appreciate you says, do you see Jamaica joining the BRICS since they are wanting to disassociate with the UK? I think so. Good question. So I did notice that video circulating where I think it was the prime minister or whoever in power in Jamaica was basically talking to the monarch Prince, whoever he was, I can't think of his name, saying that, we're on our own now, we're going our own way. And I did notice that. But then again, one thing I did notice was what is it? I think it was Harris was just down in Jamaica and announced that the US, or they were saying that, let me see here. Let me grab this real quick. Was saying that the US now will step in and help with the economic development and help. And then, of course, they paint a reason as to why they're there. But based upon what I saw from Harris, she was basically saying where the UK is being pushed out, the US will step in and fill that gap. So to answer your question, unless Xi or Putin have interest in bringing them into the fold for the BRICS unification, then they will continue to be Western puppets. And of course, Biden Harris, US might be, I'm trying to pull up an article here if I can. Let me grab an article real quick to kind of back up what I was talking about. Here we go. So this is what you're referring to, I believe. So this is what you're referring to here. Jamaican Prime Minister tells Williams, we are moving on amid push for a republic. So this was kind of like the whole spiel. But yet, once again, as I mentioned, the U.S. will try to step in and backfill that region just because, Jamaica, I'm not too sure about the natural richness of the land, but definitely it's a tropical region. So it's good to say that they have some resources that the UK obviously might be done with, or there was an exchange of favors. UK backs out, for the U.S. to step in. It's probably some handshakes. Somebody, promised some things. Mind you, whoever's at the top pulling strings, this is just not a coincidence, and they really care about the Jamaican people. So that's part of my thoughts there. Now let me share with you a different article right here, because I think this is key to understand what's really going on. Let me so let me see. Let me put this up right here. So let me see how old this is real quick. So since it's got my wheels turning a little bit, let me grab this. Let me grab some news. 1 second. I was trying to show the recent. Here we go. So this is this is what I'm talking about. The follow-up. So literally 1 week, the UK backs out, and then the next week, US applauds Jamaica for very strong economic leadership. And then, of course, we got Harris there talking about supporting. So the Joe Biden administration is on Friday applauded Jamaican Prime Minister for his very strong economic leadership. And so once again, as I just mentioned, one steps out, one steps in. So I don't see the Jamaican people having any more freedom or any more choice of choosing their own destiny than they did 2 weeks ago. That's just me. Long-winded answer, but it is what it is. Okay, let's talk. Phone lines are open, people. I want to hear from you. It's a talk show. Nobody to talk to. It's not a talk show. It's just, the Mike Rant show. I want you guys to have a 2 cents on what's going on this side of the microphone. So give me a call. Let's talk. Let me see here. Beverly Smith says, but Prime Minister is member of Queen's Privy Council. Yeah. And so assuming I'm reading this correctly, if Jamaica is actually serious about going their own route and becoming a republic, which is kind of what I read from the headlines there, them wanting to become a republic, mind you, republic, the way the government structure is now, the word republic is, it's not, we're not in a republic. We're even in the democracy that we're under is still, it's like still not, it's not working. So anyway, if they were to go to republic, that means they would have to reform their entire governmental structure with getting away with doing away with the prime minister role and probably a lot of their cabinet and council, structure, in order to have it to where they'll have to create a constitution and all the things that this country here was initially founded upon until it was incorporated and all that other stuff that took place. But long story short, if they actually want to go the republic route, they got to do a lot of work in a very short time. And that's why I'm not too confident it'll work. But I think it's a good gesture, but I think it's more so just a public show of transfer of power from UK to somebody else. And if that land there has any natural resources of value, China will come in and they've probably already bought the island for all I know. So that's just my 2 cents. Could be 100% wrong. Hello, caller. Where are you calling from?
Hey, Mike, low blood pressure, Corpus Christi. I got some sad news.
What's going on, man?
Man, I went to the Mexican consulate, man. They don't want me. They don't want me to be Mexican.
So you were denied your ancestral pathway to citizenship or something, or what?
I got denied, Mike. Look. My dad, he's Puerto Rican, so his birth certificate has 2 last names. And his U.S. paperwork, his passport, and his IDs, they only have 1 last name, because here in America, they do it that way,
Yeah.
And the Mexicans told me, hey, look, they have to be exact matches, both of them, So they denied me. They said they put a big old stamp, deported. They deported me out of Mexico, Mike.
So, no, but seriously, so you went down to Mexico to do all that, or you were doing it from the consulate here?
No. I did a consulate in San Antonio on Navarro Street, downtown San Antonio.
Okay.
So
yeah.
It's not as easy as I was going to slip them a 50, But I the security guard was kind of looking at me. I was like, nah, you know what? I won't do this.
Hey, you should have slid them a monster box.
Oh, man, it wasn't going to work, Mike. The lady she's too hardcore.
Yeah.
She's too serious,
Yeah.
Oh, so
man.
just I didn't think I was going to have that problem. So they said, she told me, either change your father's birth certificate to 1 last name or change the U.S. passport to 2 last names. And then you could come and do something.
So
I ain't going to bother.
I mean, are either one of those options something worth your while to look into, or you skip it, or what?
Yeah, I'm just going to skip it, Mike. I'm just going to enter illegally to Mexico and take my chances,
Yeah, man. But hey, I wish you the best with that. And also, one of our community members from Yashuba shot me an email. So I did get you, Dennis. I'm going to take you up on an offer. But he was saying that someone who's been a help to him down in Mexico can offer more insight into how all this stuff would work as far as, temporary visas and citizens. I mean, all that stuff. So it might be worthwhile to connect with somebody who's directly plugged in on that side of the border.
I'll check it out, Mike. But what he's doing, he's a permanent resident. To do that, you have to live over there. Right. I don't want to live over there. I want dual citizenship,
Right.
But that's a whole different ball game with residencies and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, good luck, man. So definitely, I'm definitely interested in learning more about that process myself. So I will definitely be open to hearing your journey, man. So keep us posted, man. Appreciate you.
All right, Mike. Thanks for taking my call.
Yep. Be good, man.
Bye.
All right, people. Always good stuff, man. So LBP trying to make some moves, man. I hear you. Good luck with everything. All right, let's keep moving, man. What else is out there? What other topics do we need to touch on before we conclude this Monday's edition of the People's Talk Show? Christopher says, who would win a fight between Mario and Mike? Being Mike is from Detroit, but Mario is black belt. It's all love here, man. Ain't nothing going down. There's nothing going down on that end. Mario's my guy. It's great to be able to connect with him, given the fact he has, real world experience in the financial space. And me on my end, I'm just blessed to be in his presence because he's a wealth of knowledge. And, he's a little bit older than me, so I definitely respect my elders. So it's all love. What else we got here? Let me see. Check in real quick. He said we don't mind a rant, Mike. Yeah. So, so I always, man, throughout the day, man, I come across a variety of subject matter, and I try to keep it relevant towards this subject here. So, Rethinking the Dollar was founded upon monetary literacy. That's been my primary focal point, and that's why everything around me, as you guys can see, is related to somehow, some way, just stuff we've touched on. And of course, everything is centered around the transition out of this. So I tell people to do this, speculating that, but that's a part of the reason why we're transitioning digital. And eventually we're going to get back to this, but it's not going to be as pretty as we would like it to be, because we're going to be more in a second, maybe third world status, to where we're going to see made in America again, or made in the USA again, but it won't be the way it was during the industrial time frame here in the country, where people were able to live good and high on the hogs, because of having the exorbitant privilege of having the Federal Reserve note as the world reserve currency. So once that shifts officially within the next couple years, we're going to have a chance to see what it's like to live amongst our fellow brothers and sisters in the rest of the world, where 2/3 or maybe more live well beneath their own expectations as far as their abilities to sustain themselves using credit. Like whatever credit doesn't exist, that's a better example of what it's like to live real world for the average Joe, meaning wages are lower, standard of living is lower, cost of living tends to be lower as well, but relevant to what people can afford with their actual cash in hand or lack thereof. And so that's just, it's going to be a shift. And of course, all this is taking place because this was a part of the pyramid created to make this is capitalism gone wrong right here. The weaponization or hyper financialization of products designed to keep people's capital, time, and energy concentrated into the hands of a small few, i.e. the too big to fail banks, as well as private corporate America that have used the products, i.e. investing in stocks and mutual funds and insurance policies, all those things that are used to offer protection as well as long-term wealth preservation. Right now, we're witnessing the implosion of those things because it's all based upon debt. No debt, no growth. No growth, no future. No future for the average person who trusts in this current government model, no hope. And that's where I think I'm excited to get into more of the things that really interest me, talking about, governance. What we're experiencing, in my opinion, right now is the complete well, basically, with all the talk of the new, let me put this on the screen real quick since I got a second to rant, if you guys don't mind. So for those that are, especially if you're on social media, I encourage you to go to the Rethinking the Dollar page. I usually put live videos up. And I want to talk, okay, so I can talk about Klaus Schwab as well. We got more stuff over here to talk about if I wanted to. And also Sri Lanka right now. They last month, so I basically put out there on March 8th, 9th-ish, the Sri Lankan rupee basically just got decimated. And they got rioting over there. National emergency stuff is not good over there. And that's something that you won't hear about because the mainstream media makes sure we only focus on Ukraine. Okay, keep it moving. But this is a video here that I wanted to this is what I was talking about, the New World Order. So this video here, this is the guy who Khaldun Mubarak. He owns one of the soccer teams in the UK, and he's basically just talking about how the New World Order is here. So once you have a variety of nations and people preaching and talking about this order, that's how we know it's in full effect. It's underway. And in the natural, there's nothing we can do about it. And that's why the fight itself is in the spirit realm. And this goes back to Ephesians, where it talks about we wrestle not against flesh and blood. It's him and Larry Fink on stage talking about the New World Order. And I'm not even mad at them. I'm not mad at them directly just because they're playing along the script that was written, that was foretold, biblically speaking, well before they were even here. So just like, for example, Judas Iscariot, he didn't know his life's journey and pathway was to be the person who's remembered for all eternity as a person who sold out the savior of humanity for 30 pieces of silver. He didn't know that. He was just doing what his cards happened to play out as. Just like these individuals here. They may know that they're worshiping, the dark forces. But then again, they have an assignment to do, man. Just like we have an assignment. I have an assignment to do. And it has to do with shining light on the good news. And the good news happens to all be about governance and the shifting of the current government structure out of the old into the new to get us towards, the Antichrist and all the things that come along with that. But one of the greatest things that I think is not taught happens to be, and once again, I'm going to go back around that, but it happens to do with the kingdom of God message and how further diving down so I was going to say this. I love, the spiritual essence of trying to better understand the Bible through spiritual revelation, wisdom, or whatever. And of course, the more you dive into it, the more you seek. It says, if you knock, it'll open. If you seek, you'll find. So if you go looking for something with good intentions to bring glory to the Lord, he's going to reveal some things to you. So one thing that has me excited about moving forward with this channel and just my overall message is to really highlight government and governance and the different structures that are available to us right now. And this has nothing to do with religion. Religion has been the cover up, but it's all about governance. And so as of right now, the ruler of this world, the overseer of this entire world spectrum that we're in now, in the natural sense, happens to be, the evil one, Satan, Lucifer, whatever we want to call him, the unemployed cherubim. Okay. But everything he does is to counter the eternal governing structure, which has already surpassed anything that he could even try to do. So literally, he's the defeated foe. But then again, through natural senses, through the natural events, he can deceive us to think that, we might be losing, that the New World Order is really going to be that bad for everybody. And it's not. It might be an adjustment, but then again, it's all about your perspective. If this is all you have, then of course it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. But yet, if you're literally, have the mindset that the Bible tells us to have, was, put our mind on things above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of the Father, then that right there should change our perspective. Because if Christ already conquered the grave, he already defeated death, he already did all those things, then technically speaking, we're already on the winning side. Now it's a matter of allowing his light and power to shine through us now, for the sake of bringing other people into the family. And it has a lot to do with how he governs and his government structure, which the kingdom or the domain of the king is here right now. So I'm going to go on and on and on about this, but, it's stuff that excites me. And I'm trying to connect it with real world experiences now, but for something that requires faith. So, if you're a person that's not of faith, then, it may not be of interest to you, but at some point you'll get back around to it. I do believe that. All right. So S400 says, Mike, turn that into a shirt, a mug, the unemployed cherubim. I'm about that, man. But that's it. I got so many ideas to put in shirts and mugs, but, I'm not just creating stuff just for the fun of it. I mean, I'll use it, but I want to put it out there in your hands. So anyway, man, I'm about to get ready to dial back. I'm ranting too much, but I have fun doing it. And so it's enjoyable on my part. But as always, for those that are plugged in, I'll make sure you guys hit the thumbs up button if you want to definitely show your support for the channel. And also, if you have interest in supporting beyond your presence, beyond your communication, or beyond joining the community chats, it would definitely help support-wise from a financial standpoint if you guys want. I never say no to people who are willing to be a blessing, because once again, I'm trying to think about the things I would like to do for the channel, but it does cost funds. And so it's like, okay, do I spend my own, what I'm saying? Or do I, inquire for help? So if anybody want to be a blessing, be a help, all the methods that you can support the channel, they're down beneath. And then also for those that want to support the channel at the next level, consider, purchasing some of the merchandise here. That'll definitely help as well. So anyway, people, back at it again tomorrow, Lord willing. And of course, I'll make my edits to this, visual aid right here. But other than that, this is the Russian ruble gas flow that has been put out there by Putin. Let's see how well it does or doesn't. But in the meantime, you know what to do. Prepare spiritually. And of course, being spiritually led, you'll do all the natural things needed. And then we will definitely be in a much better position than we would be if we were not. Mike R says, create a DAO, decentralized autonomous organization. Mike, that is a great idea, and that right there requires further studying, i.e. time to do so. And it would help, if you are a person in that space and you want to connect and, educate your boy or put out some suggestions. I'm definitely about that. I never turn down opportunities to learn and help and receive help. So definitely, I encourage you, connect to Discord, connect to Telegram, hit me up, and let's talk further. If anybody's in that space, definitely, I'm all game to learn new things. So I am familiar with that space, but I am interested in the decentralized, crypto space as well. Like ideas for that as well. But yeah, I get swamped sometimes. Anyway, I'm rambling too much. Be blessed, be safe, and as always, stay prayed up. Peace.